There once was a mad scientist who lived atop the highest mountain in the land. His ambition was to make a perfect clone of himself, artificially aged to resemble him exactly. He succeeded in this, but when his newly made twin stepped out of the cloning chamber, the mad scientist discovered his fatal flaw. He made the duplicate physically identical, but the clone had an extraordinarily different personality. The scientist was mad, but he also happened to be polite, well-spoken, and well-mannered. The clone, however, was ill-tempered and spouted constant profanity whenever he spoke. The scientist was so offended that he chased his clone around the mountaintop with a scalpel. During the chase, the clone lost his footing and fell to his death. The scientist came down from the mountain laboratory and was immediately arrested for making an obscene clone fall. A politician hits the road to advocate for his campaign. He visits a rural town and speaks to the townsfolk to learn how he can appeal to the people. A citizen steps forward and says, "We have a hospital with a plethora of medical facilities, but we don't have any doctors or nurses to work here and provide aid for our patients." The politician pulls out his phone and begins talking. After a couple of minutes, he hangs up the phone and tells the citizen, "Okay, I just spoke to my higher-ups, and we'll have some medical workers sent to this town first thing tomorrow. Is there anything else you want me to know about?" The citizen said, "We also don't get any cell phone reception here." Someone asked a sage, "How do we persuade those idiots?" "There's no need to persuade them," replied the sage, "nor is there any possibility of persuading them. It will only waste your time. I generally stop explaining and choose to echo them. I say to them, 'Yes, you're right.'" The other person objected. "How can that be done? You are escaping reality and not facing the problem head-on." The wise man replied, "Yes, you're right." Ron was pulled over at 2 a.m. by a police officer. The cop asked him where he was going at this time of night. Ron answered, "I'm on my way to a lecture about alcohol abuse and its effects on the body, particularly while behind the wheel of an automobile." The cop raised an eyebrow. "Who's giving a lecture like that at this hour?" Ron answered, "My wife."